Hello and welcome to a Bit of Film podcast. I'm Hatty.
And I am James.
This podcast is for film lovers, spoiler chasers, and general banter. We are two Brits in lockdown with too much time on our hands talking about films.
We both hold degrees and jobs in the creative arts. Yes, our parents are so proud that it ultimately led to this podcast. So we might go into some behind the scenes or production elements you might not know or be familiar with.
We release episodes every 2 weeks, talking about the latest film and TV offerings. If you love excessive defending of plot holes and mispronouncing actors' names, this is for you.
Please be advised we discuss spoilers, so please turn off if you haven't seen or keep listening if you don't care.
This week we are talking about Godzilla vs. Kong that was released on April 1st in the UK. Godzilla, heralded as Earth's guardian, is terrorising cities once more. Meanwhile, Kong, currently held on Skull Island, becomes humanity's last hope to stop him. Before Godzilla and Kong ultimately collide, Kong and his human allies must first travel to his ancestral home, but there is more that awaits these titans.
News this week!
Phoebe Waller-Bridge is joining the cast of Indiana Jones 5.
Yes, and I'm still surprised to hear that Indiana Jones 5 is still happening.
Yes, exactly. That was that was my prevailing thought. That's still going on. Harrison Ford hasn't kicked the bucket on that one yet.
Is Harrison Ford still attached?
He must be.
Jesus Christ.
He must be.
Why? Oh, but the fourth one was so shit.
Yeah, but everyone went to see it because we had to see how bad it was, James. That was why we did it.
Because we were led to believe that it was going to be good, and it wasn't. It was all. I remember going to see that at the cinema, and then.
Oh yes,
no.
yes.
In fact, I can't even remember
Rest
what
in
year it
peace.
came out.
That was a lot of money that went down the drain, James. That was bad.
Yeah, I mean that wasn't. Yeah.
I'm waiting for Indiana Jones in his wheelchair, speeding away from the boulder. That's what we want.
God, yeah. So that's what, 13 years ago?
Yeah.
13 years ago, and they are still planning on doing an Indiana Jones 5. No, just let it rest in peace.
The other news, we've got Top Gun Maverick and Mission Impossible 7 have both been delayed. However, we have some good news, which is also that there is a new Star Trek film that's been announced for 2023.
See, I did not know this either.
But there's no actors confirmed, so no idea if Chris Pine's coming back, Carl Urban, none of that's been qualified at all.
Okay, so we don't know in what capacity this Star Trek sequel is. We don't know if it's to do with, well, originally the J.J. Abrams string of films.
But seeing as J.J. Abrams funds Mission Impossible 7 and usually puts money into whatever Tom Cruise is working on, I'm guessing if they delayed Top Gun and Mission Impossible 7 because J.J. wants to do a new Star Trek. Apparently the rumour is, the reason why they're doing it is because of the success of Star Trek Picard.
Okay. Surely you just do another Star Trek Picard series.
No idea on that one.
I mean, I do remember there being a rumour, there was a lot of news about it at the time, about Tarantino wanting to do a Star Trek film.
Yes.
Now that is something I would love to see.
It would be good.
That would be something. I tell you what, if that's what this film is going to be, if this new Star Trek film coming in 2023 is the Tarantino one. Or,
I don't think so. I don't think that's. But he's been attached. But it would be great if he was.
Don't crush my dreams. It can still happen. That would be phenomenal. That would be very interesting.
We also have to. The biggest news of this week is, of course, the fact that Marvel actually did release the full cut of Zemo dancing.
Yeah.
So you can go and watch that. Please go and watch it. It will make your day.
I can't believe. I mean, that was a slice of marketing genius, both from the fans and then also by Marvel. So yeah, just to give it a little bit of colour to this. So Daniel Bruhl, basically in an interview, he mentioned that whole. So he improvised that dance sequencing. And I think they filmed for a good hour. And then as soon as people got wind of this, they were like, right, release the Zemo cut. We want to see him dancing for an hour. And then, I came back from work one day and opened up YouTube and it was there, like from Marvel Entertainment was the Zemo cut. And they'd even called it the Zemo cut. I mean, whoever is sitting in Marvel's publicity department,
trolling us.
No, whoever made that decision, I mean, give them a pay rise. I mean, that was beautiful because obviously that went everywhere. Saw it on Instagram, I saw it on YouTube, I saw it on TikTok. It was everywhere. And then you also had all these memes from DC, which were like, I think you'll find you're 4 years too early. Because obviously it took them 4 years plus to get the Snyder Cut out of Warner Bros.
Yeah, exactly.
So, it's just beautiful. I mean, it's not going to change your life, but I mean, if you don't already like Zemo, it's just another way of, Bringing him.
Loving him even more. Even more. And another thing, which is that I can see the marketing trying to make this a big deal, but we're going to bring it up just because it's not a big deal, but everyone wants it to be a big deal, which is the fact that it's now 10 years since Game of Thrones started. Can we all just let it die, please? Can we just say rest in peace? Can we just...
No, HBO can't, because I don't know how many spin-offs HBO have got in the works for Game of Thrones. It's at least 3, and I have a feeling it's a lot more than that. No. HBO are going to milk that franchise. And I'm pretty sure
everyone is so broken.
I think George R. R. Martin is just not going to finish the 6th book now, because he's like, well, HBO are basically funding my retirement plan.
Valid.
Yeah, no, I've seen on YouTube that HBO Max have been re-releasing recuts of the Game of Thrones seasons, new trailers for the Game of Thrones seasons, which obviously is... I watched a couple of them, and it was part of it, like, in terms of the earlier seasons, let's say, as in a 1 to 3. It's definitely made me want to rewatch them. And obviously this is because...
But the last season, like...
Well, look, yes, all right, fair enough. The last season, I mean, there were lots of comments about, well, as long as they recut season 8, it'll be happy. Hand it over to Zack Snyder, he'll do a good job. But yeah, no, they've there's the whole 10-year anniversary, which I think there's going to be a bit more about. I think they might have like a special coming up, and then they've obviously been re-releasing lots of recut trailers of the 8 seasons in a desperate
I'm just shaking
attempt.
my head to this.
Yeah.
I'm shaking my head to this. No, let it die.
Well,
but then Hobbit 2 and 3 happened, so you know. We're gonna milk the cow until it's all done.
Do you mean Hobbit 2 and 3 happened?
They weren't good, James.
Well, no, they don't hold up a candle to the original Lord of the Rings films, but they were all right. They were all right, good films.
So other news, we've got The Woman in the Window, based on the best-selling novel, is coming to Netflix in May.
And I thought I saw the trailer a while ago, so I thought it had already been released, but I presume it was going to be released around the time that the pandemic started, hence why it's still sort of in limbo, as it were.
Okay.
The Woman in the Window, it stars Amy Adams as a character. I can't remember the name of her condition, but basically she's got a fear of going outside, simply put.
Agoraphobia.
That's the one. Thank you. She's basically trapped in her house, which I think we could all agree with or relate to at this point.
We can all sympathise, yeah.
Thank you. So not to give too much away, because obviously I don't want to spoil you sort of watching the trailer or not watching it. Basically, she befriends this woman who lives across the road from her, who she sees from the window, and then something happens, and then it's kind of this whole... I don't want to describe it more. Something happens, basically, and it's her trying to piece together what's happened, I suppose.
Okay, that sounds good. Is it? Well, Amy Adams, as long as she's not playing Lois Lane, I'm usually on side with it, so...
No, it's got from what I remember, it's got Amy Adams, Julianne Moore, and also Gary Oldman as well. So there are some good names in there.
Shocking.
And I think it feels very much. I think because of the best-selling novel, it's got kind of Gone Girl on the Train vibes.
Don't say anymore. I'll go watch it.
Yeah.
I'll watch the trailer.
I'm not going to say anymore. But yeah, no. If anyone's interested in that sort of stuff, I'd definitely check out the trailer.
Godzilla vs. Kong. Did you, I know this is really early on, but the opening credits, where they go through all the monsters that Kong and Godzilla have killed, did you get Syndrome's Fortress from Incredibles?
Yep.
Okay, good, yeah. just wanted the kind of, the sound of it going,
Yeah, there was a little bit of that, and there was also I thought that was very clever. I did quite enjoy that in terms of an opening sequence, in terms of like, because the whole point is it's Godzilla versus Kong. That is the title of the film, and then it was very much like a football league table where you've got these contenders. This is the winner, and then this is the contender, and this is the winner, and then it all comes to the centre for the final, which I did enjoy. I thought that was really good, but I mean, they haven't killed that many monsters. Kong's killed a skull crusher or 2 in his own film. Godzilla's killed whatever they were in the first film, and then King Ghidorah in the second. That's it. It's like, we're talking like these are the last 2 standing. They're not, because we know there are other titans out there. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, even in King of the Monsters, like did they say there was like 14 titans walking around? I mean, we only saw maybe 3 or 4 of them. Is Kong held on Skull Island?
Yes. Well, the opening graphic, which is so channeling like everyone in lockdown, like did you get that sense of like that he was just sitting, chilling, waking up, having a shower, and then going, "Yep, I'm still sitting here in my room." And then, of course, it cut, and then he threw the tree or whatever it was, and then he was still on Kong Island, but under a specific, like, held space.
Yeah, oh, that's true. I wasn't sure if he was held off Skull Island or if it was on Skull Island, but
Confusingly, they had two graphics to explain the same location, but yeah, he was on Skull Island.
no, I think that's fair enough. Yes, so this is fourth film in the franchise of the Monsterverse, as they keep trying to dub it. I'd say this is much more a follow up to Kong Skull Island as opposed to Godzilla.
Yes,
Because one of the first
particularly
things,
King of Monsters.
Well, yes. Well, no. I think. Yes. Okay. So this is all right. I'm going to backtrack already now. So I do think it was quite a good follow up to King of the Monsters, mainly because spoiler here for anyone who hasn't watched King of the Monsters. But at the end, they have all these other titans that have been unleashed. They all come to Godzilla and basically bow to him, and he is the new king, so to speak. But Kong is notably not there, which makes sense in this film because he's contained. He's in this containment cell, as it were. And then there's the whole thing of Kong bows to no one. If they release him, then Godzilla will come and find him and try and kill him. And they're trying to protect him, blah, 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 blah. Basically, plot points which we don't care about. So, no, I thought it was quite a good... it tied together. There were lots of elements from King of the Monsters that did tie together with this. I mean, you could definitely have watched this film and not have watched Kong Skull Island and still have got the same.
Oh, yeah. But I would argue that you might not have needed to see King of Monsters either, because there were some notably absent elements from the Architect and just general, very different. I don't know, the kind of moments that were adapted.
Well, I mean, you've watched King of the Monsters much more recently than I have.
That's true.
So, I mean, you're going to have more clarity. Yeah, I don't necessarily think that you need to have watched any of the previous films to kind of understand what's going on. Because let's face it, we're not here for the plot. We are here to see two massive monsters beat the crap out of each other. And if you're coming for the plot, you're going to be sorely disappointed.
And okay, my thing is that I would say King of the Monsters is a better film because fundamentally there's more monster fights. This is back to the 20-minute fight. 20 minutes of fighting monsters for the whole film.
Yeah, well, the difference here is obviously that we're talking about that you've got two titans as opposed to King of the Monsters, which kind of, you had Godzilla and obviously King Ghidorah as the sort of main opponents, as it were, but then you had the other ones that kind of got thrown in there for side battles, as it were. But I mean, this is kind of like with Batman v Superman. I mean, Gal Gadot, no one really cared about Wonder Woman in that film because she wasn't part of the conflict, so to speak.
Yeah.
And that's not the only comparison that I will bring up when it comes to Godzilla versus Kong and Batman v Superman, because there's a few.
Let's just talk about the characters for a second.
Which ones?
Brian Tree Henry as Bernie Haynes, the podcast guy, was, I think, my favourite character in this.
Oh yeah, no, because I think he was the only character that realised that he was in a ridiculous film.
Exactly.
And I'm glad that you mentioned him by name, because I could not tell you what the actor was called or what his character was called. I will call him the podcast guy. No, you're quite right. I mean,
he was good. He was really good.
He was very good. He was very entertaining to watch. I do still have many, many problems with him and the whole sequence that they go down. So his character and Millie Bobby Brown and I can't remember
Millie Bob Brown's eyeliner, which was a separate character in its own right.
Oh, Julian Dennison as well. Sorry, he plays Josh Valentine. I've only seen him in a few things, most notably Deadpool 2.
Yeah.
I do think he's fab as well.
Brilliant.
I think he for what he was given anyway, did a fantastic job. But every time, I'm sorry to say this, but every time they cut to their plot, as it were, I just sighed. I was like, oh, here we go. Okay. We've cut away from something cool, but at the end of the day, he was very entertaining to watch. Their whole plot line was just ridiculous and pointless.
The super
train that somehow goes to China. I don't know how long it'll have taken for them to dig that tunnel. But also, just like, they are the worst infiltrators in the world. I mean, so yeah, basically, their whole plot line is they are infiltrating the shady organization called Apex. Please correct me if I'm wrong.
Yeah,
because they believe that they are doing something that is provoking Godzilla into attacking these places. So that's kind of the motivation, so to speak. But considering that they are this massive, shady organization, and they are infiltrating this shady organization, they kind of go around speaking very loudly. Sometimes they're like screaming out loud. There's even a moment where they go, this is much later on in the film when they go to China, they step into this massive open space, which is shrouded in darkness. He even comments on the fact that it's a gladiatorial pit. This is in a world where they know there are massive monsters, aka titans, walking around. And the first thing they do is shout out to see how the echo goes. And like, you don't infiltrate a secret facility. Two, walk into this massive room where clearly something is living there. And announce to the world that, oh, we're here. I mean, at the end of the day, again, we're not.
How else were they going to get out, James?
We're not here for
How
the
else
plot.
were they going to get out?
But I'm just thinking, who wrote these characters?
I'll be honest. Why is Millie Bob Brown allowed to leave school with her mate and go and join some weird, shady podcast dude, and then just infiltrate a building with him? Just. How's that okay?
Because she's 11.
This is not the universe of Stranger Things.
I was going to say, yeah, that's a Stranger Things reference for anyone who hasn't watched Stranger Things. No, absolutely no. But I mean, they needed to put Millie Bobby Brown in there somewhere. I mean, her dad's in it. I don't even know who her dad is played by either. Again, I don't even know what the character's called. Mark Russell, thank you. Kyle Chandler.
The dad still had character.
No,
I'm going to say character.
He didn't
Than Alec.
He didn't have.
He had a job. He had a job at least. I'm not sure what he was trying.
What was his job?
He was working for the other company, which I've forgotten the name of.
Mm-hmm.
That's trying to stop this with the Orcatech that now doesn't work for some reason.
I don't remember a single mention of the Orcatech.
No,
because
it was completely.
But you're quite right. That should have become a part of this. In terms of like,
yes.
I think we theorized when we were talking about the trailer that we thought that the Orcatech was somehow going to be involved in the reason that Godzilla was basically
would have been cooler. Genuinely would have been cooler than what they came up with.
Well, yeah, basically. But again, we're not here for the plot.
Okay, wait. My point was the character that we still haven't discussed, who has 0 point in this plot, is the Alex Skarsgård character, who is Dr. Nathan Lind.
Yeah.
Oh my god. Aside from giving CPR to Kong, achieved nothing.
Right, no, so I will counteract that. He's not the most useless character in this film. But sticking...
Rebecca Hall is.
No, there is someone worse. I mean, also, most of the point, you've just called her Rebecca Hall and not by her character's name. This is the point I'm trying to make, in the fact that I could not mention a single character's
Eileen
name.
Andrews.
Yeah, just because you're reading it off IMDb does not mean that you counteracted my point.
I have, of course. She was referred to as Eileen numerous times. I don't know what you're talking about, Jay.
I can't name a single. I can't even name Millie Bobby Brown's character without looking at IMDb. Other than Godzilla and Kong, I can't mention any characters, and that's really, really bad. However, I mean, going back to Alexander Skarsgård's character, and I have written this in my notes, did anyone else get Atlantis vibes? As in Disney's Atlantis?
Yes.
But then the whole fact that this entrepreneur approaches this scientist to lead an expedition to this place which no one believes exists. I just had the whole thing. I was thinking, well, this is either an attempt at Atlantis or this is just a remake of Journey to the Centre of the Earth. And it could have been a combination of the two.
Yeah. And both of them did it better. Yeah.
Both of them did do it better, yeah.
Yeah.
So the whole inclusion of Hollow Earth, why? Just why?
Yeah.
I don't understand it.
No. It's very important for Kong to pick up his ancestral axe so that they could destroy Mechagodzilla.
No. Well, right, you just... Yeah, so we're just skirting over the rest of the film. We'll just go straight to Mechagodzilla. Yeah, no. Just no. I mean, sorry, I am going to come down hard on this film. At the end of the day, the thing is, I did enjoy it, but I only enjoyed it when the big lizard was attacking the big monkey. That was it. That is what we're here to see, and at the end of the day, that does deliver. But this film was, 2 hours? And
it was too long. Way too long for, no reason.
I just don't understand why they had to include Hollow Earth.
I mean, what was cool about King of Monsters is they found that little like pocket of like Godzilla's reboot charging point, and that was nice. And they tried to do that with Kong, but he had to go to Hollow Earth because it had to be more epic, and it had to imply that like there were shortcuts through the Earth conveniently.
Yeah, well, this was the other thing. It was the fact that so obviously we get to Hollow Earth, and there's the weird thing where the gravity's all over the place, and Kong's basically flying towards this central temple where, yes, his ancestors clearly fought Godzilla's ancestors, and he picks up an axe, which is basically Stormbreaker, and yeah, he needs that to then kill Godzilla, so to speak. But then Godzilla is in Hong Kong, I believe, and then basically uses atomic breath to burn a hole into the center of the Earth, even though that the humans and Godzilla had to use like a weird portal to get there, and then Kong
That was my
and then
question.
Kong climbs out of the hole that Godzilla made. I'm thinking, how much distance have we travelled? Because it doesn't feel like
Yes.
we've travelled a lot.
It was weird. It was very strange to literally move just entire sections of the Earth and just be like, oh, Kong can climb out. Didn't you know? It only takes him 5 minutes and he's ready to go afterwards.
Yeah, I just don't understand why they're. I mean, at the end of the day, they're trying to shoehorn a plot in there for the humans. Because at the end of the day, you can't just have a film where two monsters fight each other. But
Oh, no,
but
no.
there's got to be better ways to sort of treat the human cast.
I,
I don't know.
I'll be honest, I don't understand why the Japanese character Ren Sarazawa, which I actually think is supposed to be related to the previous actor.
Yes,
that
apparently
we-
he is, and that I
But
don't think that was ever mentioned in the film.
No, it wasn't mentioned at all. And he was a really lovely character, and it's like, why didn't you just focus on him? Literally, why didn't you focus on him? It would have been a way cooler story of like trying to get like revenge for his father, meeting all the other characters who knew his father, who were there when he died. You know, just I don't understand. I don't understand why we had to have all these new characters.
No,
Yeah.
I don't really. Anyway, I mean, this is I mean, this is the Monsterverse problem, and it's the whole reason that the Dark Universe, which was going to be the Mummy and Frankenstein and presumably Dracula coming together. You know which one I'm talking about. This is why that didn't work either. But like, I mean,
Just the Mummy, Dracula, Frankenstein. It's like a bad Halloween movie. Yeah, sorry.
right, no, we'll move on to something else anyway.
I'm fine.
But
I'm
like
fine.
the whole, at the end of the day, if we're talking about the cinematic universe of the big monsters, as it were, and that's the only way I can describe it, you needed it so you had the recurring characters. Like it would almost be basically it was like so Aaron Taylor Johnson, who appeared in the first Godzilla film, if you wanted to create a consistent universe with interesting human characters, not to say that he was interesting in Godzilla, I'm saying that they could have built upon that, but you keep the characters and you thread them through.
Yeah.
So the fact that yes, we were introduced to this whole host of brand new characters. I think the only recurring character was Millie Bobby Brown and her dad. That was it. Charles Dance didn't stick around for this film.
I was going to say, where did he go? He ended it with, I'm going to see what I can do with this, and then it turned into nothing. So did he freeze his butt off in Antarctica?
Not wrong. It did turn into something because the skull of Ghidorah is in this film.
Yeah, but it's not explained how he got there.
He sold it, I presume. I don't know. We're getting off the point anyway. There's all these new characters.
Yes.
They needed to focus on a smaller batch, basically. And I agree. I think they should have focused on. I think it's Shunaguri is the actor who, is supposed to play the son of the other guy.
Apologies for massacring your name.
Yeah, we're not very good at that, are we? Sorry, moving back to.
I've just realised, sorry, Mark Russell, which is the dad, named his child Madison Russell. So they're Mark and Madison Russell. Oh, that's just too. No. That's too similar.
I mean, can you remember what his wife was called?
Don't quiz me, that's me.
Anyway, moving back to Alexander Skarsgård.
Yes.
Yeah,
Mr. CPR.
I did not know he was in this. Mainly because he obviously appeared in the trailer, but because I don't know him from a lot of other films. Most notably, it was The Legend of Tarzan.
Yes. Well, I'm a big fan of his, so I've seen
I know
most of his stuff.
I know you are. No, I know you are. I mean, can you mention what other films has he been in? You should educate me and anyone else who's not obsessed by him.
I'm not obsessed by him. Well, most recently, his big deal was Big Little Lies. And
That was is that the TV series with Meryl
that's
Streep? Not
Nicole,
well, sorry, it's not Meryl
yeah,
Streep comes in later, but then it's
Nicole
thank
Kidman,
you.
Reese Witherspoon.
Yeah.
Yes, yeah. Yeah, he's very close with HBO. So his big start was a Generation Kill, and then he was on most of the series of of True Blood.
Uh
Don't
sorry,
look at me like
no,
that,
no,
James.
True Blood is the vampire thing, right?
Yes.
Yeah. I'll just sigh. No,
And
I mean envy's
so, I mean,
an
he's
ugly
in.
emotion, so I'm just gonna stop.
I would, let's just leave it at that. Leave it at
I
True
think
Blood.
I think that's enough. I think that's enough. Anyway, the point I was trying to make was I didn't know he was in this because I mean he appeared in the trailer, but this is probably the furthest from his stereotype I've ever seen. I didn't. Yeah, I don't know. I was very surprised that it was Alexander Skarsgård. I'll put it that way.
Because he wasn't playing the buff lead. He was playing the nerd.
I mean, I didn't want to say it, but yeah,
He definitely was playing the
just didn't
nerd, yeah.
recognize him. Which is, I mean, at the end of the day, I clearly don't know him well enough, so I don't know his articles of work. Yeah, I don't. He still wasn't the most useless character. I didn't think he would stand out by any means. I think definitely. I mean,
No.
I think yeah, Julian Dennison and was it Brian Tyree Henry? Was that is he the podcaster?
Yes.
At the end of the day,
Yeah.
they were probably the standout performances, just from a comedy perspective, really.
Definitely.
The character that was the most useless was she was the daughter of Apex's CEO who got put on the
Oh my god.
thank you
Yes.
who got put on the
Yeah.
mission to babysit in quotation marks, and then basically
So
well, as soon as they get to
she was Maya Simmons,
Maya Simmons, so there you go.
played by Eliza Gonzalez. Eliza Gonzalez.
Yep, let's go with that.
Yeah, let's go with that.
But she was literally put on she was put on the mission to babysit and then had nothing to do until they got what they wanted or got what their father wanted and then died. That was it. It was a case of right, okay, I've done what I needed to do. Now I have no need to stay in this film, therefore I'm going to get killed off. And I was watching it and I'm like, why is she here? I mean, I know why she was here because at the end of the day they apparently needed this thing to do this thing, which we'll move on to later. But yeah, she was basically put in. Like they could have developed any other character. They had other characters to do that. Basically she just appears. They try and make her look
nothing.
slightly badass in the fact that so when we're first introduced to her, she is standing at the foot of Kong, as it were, without fear, supposedly. But then she basically has nothing to do for the rest of the film. She was the most useless character of this film.
That's true. That's true.
That
You're right.
really
Even the
me.
Japanese guy died for a reason.
Yes, exactly. And at least Alexander Skarsgård's character, who is called Nathan Lind, had a purpose in quotation marks to
I guess.
well, I suppose to resuscitate Kong. Yeah. I don't know. I just as far as the plot, I mean, at the end of the day, I'm going to keep going on about the plot and how it doesn't exist in this film. It should have just been almost a straightforward case of we need to move Kong to this place so that Godzilla can't get him. As soon as they're moving him, Godzilla's after him. And the whole reason for the surprise third party, which we'll move on to later, is because the humans are trying to find a way of matching these titans. We've seen it before in lots of different films in the sense of like when it comes to world-ending events, humanity finds a way to survive. And it could have just been a simple case of we need to develop new weapons, new technology to fight these massive titans that are basically gods. It could have just been as simple as that because that's all what I could probably mentally handle from a film, which is about a giant monkey and a giant lizard.
Yeah. No, you're right. You're right. I can't argue with it. Yeah.
I think they went too I think they went too complicated with the plot. I mean, to be fair, as far as the two plots are concerned, and I'm talking about the Hollow Earth plot and then the infiltrating Apex plot, the infiltrating Apex plot made more sense for what happened in the end. It was entirely redundant.
I was going to say it's entirely redundant because the AI suddenly decided to learn its own thing, and that's why we have Mechagodzilla.
Right, so this is another problem I have with it. Yeah, so if anyone's not following, basically, you've got, for the majority of the film, you've got Godzilla versus Kong. And then, in the same sense of Batman v Superman, a surprise third party enters the arena, and that is in the form of Mechagodzilla. Which I will say, Ready Player One did it better. So,
Yeah.
yes, you've got this whole. So basically, the infiltration mission ends up with them getting to the Apex facility in China, and then they're in this big sacrificial pit, and then Mechagodzilla basically comes out of the floor. And this is probably my
Oh.
worst moment because it was. I kind of loved it and hated it at the same time. Where the podcast guy, and I'm sorry I can't remember the character's name still, but again, that's how unforgettable these characters are. He says,
Bernie
Bernie,
Haynes.
all right, I'll say, okay, Bernie, basically, Mechagodzilla is coming out of the floor, and then Bernie is there saying, that's Robo Godzilla. And then Julian Dennison says, no, that's Mechagodzilla. And I just cringed. I was like, oh.
Oh, I'm sorry. There were plenty of cringeworthy. I think Rebecca Hall had the majority of "Kong bows to no one," and
But
she
they
had.
were cool lines. I mean, they're very much more dramatic cinematic lines because they all made it into the trailer. But the whole like Kong bows to no one, they're the last one standing, and all this sort of stuff. Like that, I mean, I don't know. They were cool, basically. If I had to choose which lines to say, I would choose those ones. I wouldn't choose
Over
no, that's
Mecha.
Mechagodzilla, because I mean, it was very much a case of right. So this harkens back to when we were talking about the trailer. The whole no, that's Mechagodzilla. That's kind of like a here you go, fans. This is what you want. That would have been better had they not fucking revealed it in the trailer. It's a simple case of that.
Yes.
If they
No, you're
hadn't
right.
revealed that was going to happen, then fine. I could kind of accepted it because it's like, okay, here we go. Mechagodzilla's entering the field. But no, I'm really coming down hard on this film.
Mecha
Oh,
turns up at a point in the story which is like your third act twist, and he should be the third act. Did you not find this, that like we actually got a very little amount of Mechagodzilla?
oh yeah. Well, I'll move. Yeah, I mean, no, you're right. Yeah, I mean, it's kind of.
I just was like the whole thing's about fighting monsters, and somehow in the middle of Act 2 we got lost on the Hollow Earth and misplaced the fun bit.
All right. To be fair, the fight between Mechagodzilla and Godzilla was pretty cool. I'm not. I mean, at the end of the day, again, it's just it's
Yes.
giant titans, kaiju monsters, whatever you want to call them, basically tearing up cities
Oh,
and.
did you notice that Kong's, I imagine you did, but just to confirm, that Kong's axe was made out of Godzilla's spines?
Yes.
Yeah, okay, cool.
Yeah. Which is part of the reason why Godzilla can supercharge it,
Yes.
which I still thought was stupid, but hey ho. Um, yeah, like why would Kong's ancestors have a weapon which can only be charged by their enemy?
Yeah. Well, you hold it up, and when they're doing it at you, you go, "Oh, thank you." Boom.
Sure.
Again, Shazam did it better with charging mobiles. Not gonna lie.
It's very different.
Is it?
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like I feel like I don't know. I just don't understand why the axe needed to be there. I don't understand why the axe needed to be there. Anyway, so with Mechagodzilla, like the whole fight between him and Godzilla was brilliant, and Kong was unconscious and getting resuscitated somewhere else. And then part of it is obviously that at the end of the day, both of them need to team up to take out Mechagodzilla, and it's the whole enemy is my friend kind of situation. But as soon as they team up, Mechagodzilla goes down pretty quickly.
Yeah.
And I feel like you
Too
could
quickly.
have made that bigger and better and longer to a point, and shown the struggle. I suppose part of it, as part of the storytelling is concerned, is the fact that yes, it's a case of the whole film has been about Godzilla, King of the Monsters, retaining his crown, as it were. But in order to defeat this mutual enemy, they have to accept their differences. I can't believe I'm saying this, and team up to defeat him. But I don't care about any of that in a monster flick.
I'll be honest. There is one thing that they made about the two of them actually being characters that I liked, and that's how they changed how they filmed it. So usually in the other franchise movies, the camera is so far away from the fight that they are like little tiny little just figurines, and then this one it felt like the camera was literally next to them, so that the punches became this boxing fight almost at moments. and the camera would spin and stuff like that. And I actually felt far more engaged with what was going on in the fight than I have done in the previous movies.
Yeah, well, it's because they kind of learned their lesson. I mean, with the first Godzilla film, obviously one of the major criticisms was the fact that Godzilla wasn't really in it, and even when he was, it was almost like you say, it was almost filmed from human level.
Yeah.
I don't necessarily think that's a bad way of doing it, because have you watched Cloverfield?
I've watched the one in the bunker, but I don't think I've watched the first one.
Oh, very, very different. So Cloverfield basically is, so again, it's another kind of big
I remember the trailer of it,
big,
and it's like something just comes down from the sky.
yeah, the less you think about it, the better.
Okay.
But it's very much. I mean, basically, the entire film's filmed from a video camera. It's done like a found footage thing, basically, and it's got these
Cheap. Yeah, got it.
Well, not cheap. Because, well, I suppose I don't know what their budget was, but it's all done from as if it's from a handheld camera. It's following these humans where this giant monster is attacking the city. So you do see the monster, but obviously you see it from human level. You see it almost from the eyes of someone trying to escape it, and that I found really enjoyable because.
Oh, okay.
I don't know. It's basically it's effectively
Yeah, but I
putting
don't
you
think
in
they
the
did
shoes.
that. But they didn't do that in the first one. The first one, it just felt like it was happening miles away, and we weren't really invested in it.
No. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying it can be done
Yeah,
can be done in
yeah,
that way well. Yeah, no. With the first Godzilla, it was a case of we were always focusing on Aaron Taylor Johnson's character, and then if Godzilla was fighting in the background, it was more or less in the background of his shot as opposed to
yeah.
Godzilla's shot. So yes, I do agree. I think they've learned their lesson now. They were learning their lesson with King of the Monsters, and yeah, I think they've kind of got hit the nail on the head this time around.
Okay, while we're on size, we have to talk about the fact that Kong's size changes throughout the movie, depending on when and how he needs to fit through certain things. Be it a giant net that carries him to Antarctica, which suddenly when it's on the floor is tiny, or the fact that, like, just within a shot, he could go from, like, whooah, giant monster, but to nothing, seemingly. That he can bend down and talk to people and just be like, oh, hello. We're in the Arctic having a conversation in the snow, and I can look you in the eyes. Yeah. What was up with that?
Can't help you there. I can't help you there. I mean, I know that in Kong Skull Island, I don't know how tall Kong is supposed to be, but I know
Yes,
that
no, I'm
he's a
with you.
lot smaller than Godzilla was in their first films, so to speak. So yeah, at the end of the day, they need to
Yeah.
change that somehow and just kind of pretend that no one. Yeah, just pretend that he was always that size. No, I mean, I think their justification, and it's such a loose argument, but I'm going to have to bring it up because there will be someone who's like, but they said this. Obviously, in Kong Skull Island, that's during the Vietnam War, and obviously now we're back into the modern day. So I suppose the implication is that during that time, Kong has still grown. I'm saying it. I'm just saying it because that is probably the justification that is out there. In fact, I'm pretty sure that is the justification that's out there. I don't agree with it.
I'm disappointed into that. I'm disappointed.
Well, there's an explanation for everything.
Can we just, also on that, Kong's music is phenomenal in this film. It's like one of my favourite parts in this, that there's just like Elvis Presley playing every time like Kong's on screen. I loved that. I was like, yes.
Sure.
No, you don't. Well, you either hate it or you embrace it, and I'm on the embracing it side of this.
Oh, it's such a weird film. It is such a weird film. I don't. I mean, yeah. I mean, I'm definitely criticizing it and I'm pulling it apart because at the end of the day, that's the fun part about it. But I did enjoy it.
Yeah.
It's like it was. I mean, to be fair, it's probably one of those ones that I kind of wish, and I feel like this would have been one to see in cinema.
Yeah, I think we have to say that we saw this on video on
Yeah.
demand in our living rooms.
Well, yeah,
which is a
because at
shame.
the moment in the UK, the cinemas are still aren't open. Hopefully, they will be back open soon. But we just had to work on video on demand on the TV,
Yeah.
which I do think was part of, it sort of took away part of the epic, so to speak. I would
Definitely,
sort of actually
definitely.
comment on that do not watch this on your phone or on an iPad. You need to watch it
No.
on a TV because,
Definitely.
yeah, you need that scale. But I mean, I
You're gonna
reckon
miss it otherwise,
if
yeah.
I watched this in the cinema, I would have had a much better time just because of
Yes,
how
yeah.
ridiculous it was. But then obviously the monster fights were awesome.
And yeah, they would have been even more awesome on a giant screen.
Yeah,
Definitely.
I definitely feel like this is one of probably the first film in the pandemic that I've watched that felt like a full-on blockbuster, really. Like a proper
Yeah.
big blockbuster. I mean, I know Wonder Woman came out Justice
It
League, I'm
wasn't. It
not
wasn't.
really counting because that was a recut, as it were. But this is the first film that I've watched during the pandemic, which I kind of wish I had watched in the cinema. I feel like something was
Yes.
lost by not watching it in the cinema, and
Agreed.
I don't necessarily think that's a plus point in its corner.
I think it's not a negative.
At the end of the day, we don't care if the Titans came from Hollow Earth. I mean, what they're clearly trying to do is try and create a hotspot for spin-offs.
Oh yeah.
But I mean, they could have done that. And I mean, at the end of the day, this isn't the Marvel Cinematic Universe. This isn't an intricate plot like Game of Thrones. We don't care about where they came from. At the end of the day, if you say a giant lizard's going to fight a giant monkey, that is what we're here for. There were moments where it felt like it knew what it was, as in they know this is a ridiculous concept, but we're still going to go with it. We're still going to have fun with it. But then there were other times where it was almost too serious.
Yeah. Yeah.
And at the end of the day, it needed to decide what it was, because you had the podcaster and that plot line, which was very much more like, I know exactly what type of film I'm in, and then you had Alexander Skarsgård's character, which was like, this is the fate of the world that we're talking about, and it felt, I don't know, it felt very jarring. The themes did not kind of
Not.
align
No, they
at
didn't
all.
fit. No. No, I'm with you. I'm with you on that one.
No, I mean, I don't know. I mean, the point is that all of those are kind of relatively well. I mean, I don't know. I don't know the whole. I don't know the original universe, as it were. I obviously know Godzilla because Godzilla's been remade half a hundred times, and we know King Kong because he's been remade half a hundred times. I didn't know about King Ghidorah. I didn't know about Mothra. I don't know. I know they all exist in the old films, but I don't know if they'd, for example, be able to sort of hold their own in a solo film, so to speak.
Yeah.
So it depends. It depends on if they plan on making any others. I mean, we know that Godzilla versus Kong was been given the green light when King of the Monsters was being made. So regardless of the success of King of the Monsters, this was always going to happen. We don't
True.
know if they have a plan to continue this universe moving forward.
Seeing as its opening for Godzilla vs Kong has done better than Justice League, I think they'll be making another one. It's made more money, this one.
Yeah, that's true, isn't it?
I just have to tell you because this is what I wrote. I wrote for the character we were talking about, Maya Simmons. I actually wrote the actor who's the pretty dumb rich girl.
I mean, yeah, that's pretty much true.
Yeah, that's her.
But I would say that other people have done dumb rich girls better.
Yeah, no, and they had more of a point, and they were
Yeah.
more annoyed at their fathers, and it worked.
She had, yeah, she had. Well, I don't know. She just didn't have she didn't have a purpose. Literally, she could have been replaced with anyone, and we would still have got the same result.
That's true.
But this is part of it. Like part of my whole point. Like her reason for being there is to get this energy source or a piece of this energy source, which wasn't even the energy source. It was the signature. It was the energy signature, which they then transferred to Hong Kong, copied, and then put into the Mechagodzilla suit, which then became sentient. Why did any of that need to happen?
Because they had to unleash Mecha Godzilla.
But this is this right. So there was again right. So there's 2 points we're going to make here. Point one is what I was saying earlier on, where in terms of their whole plot and reasoning and motivation, like what that character wants, why are they creating Mechagodzilla? It would be so much more plausible if it was just because at the end of the day, Godzilla is currently rampaging around the world. We can't control him. We need to find a way to defeat him, or at least protect ourselves from him. That is the reason for Mechagodzilla. So I felt, I mean, that's how I would have wanted it to go down.
I mean, they did. That was what they said it was.
Right, but I don't think the energy core needed to come into it.
No.
Because I mean,
No.
part of the whole point with the energy core was the fact that the energy signature made Mechagodzilla sentient, and then he turned on his creators and then basically just wreaked havoc. I still didn't like that because Mechagodzilla was being controlled. So this is going back to King Ghidorah's skull, which they had in the Apex facility, and they had wires probably hooked up to the whatever. I couldn't.
Don't think about that too much.
Well, no, this no, right, no, no. But this is the alternative that I came up with in my head, which took me 5 minutes to think about. If they've got King Ghidorah's skull, which is hooked up to Mechagodzilla, if Mechagodzilla was going to become sentient, I would have thought it would have been King Ghidorah just in a robot form. If that makes sense. So that would have been Ghidorah's conscience, as it were, that then made Mechagodzilla sentient, and that's why it started the rampage. I just don't understand where the whole we got the energy signature from the hollow Earth or the center of the Earth. We put it into our big robot suit, and then it became sentient.
I think that was to
Why
do
was the energy source sentient?
that was because I think Godzilla, when he growled into the ground and made a center to Hollow Earth, he was drawn to that energy source, and the Godzilla, which is the Mecha Godzilla, which is based on Godzilla, when it was attached to that, was fixated on that energy source.
But they already had the energy source at Apex facility in the beginning of the film when Godzilla attacked, and it was then moved to Hong Kong. Because it was you're right. There was that energy source in the beginning of the film which Godzilla was drawn to, and then he destroyed the Apex facility, which is what prompted the whole Godzilla's suddenly the bad guy.
No, I don't mean the energy source at the beginning. I mean the energy source that Kong unleashed in Hollow Earth.
I don't know. I mean, you're trying to justify it, but the fact that what we're saying sounds so ridiculous just implies that it is very ridiculous. I don't know. I just think that I've said my piece on it. I think they went too complicated. I think they made it too complicated, and it didn't need to be. I think they could have. It could have just been a straight fact of we've created this suit to basically beat Godzilla, and even if it was the humans controlling him and fighting Godzilla, at the end of the day, Godzilla and Kong are always going to fight back against it, and it is just kind of it's a reminder that we kind of got to leave these creatures be. Yeah, I don't know. I just felt they made it too complicated.
They did. No, they completely did. They completely did. I have to. The only thing I think we haven't talked about is the original fight between Godzilla and Kong, which I have to admit I think was my favourite part of the film. Like, the silliness of it was definitely the fun part. So, like, the fact that Godzilla broke the warship in half, and then half of the warship was attached to him, and then that came up on the water, and they came towards them, and they knew he was getting near, and they're just like proper like comic book shots on that, and I think they even brought back the original music for that bit, and I really liked that. I think that was sort of my favourite bits of the movie.
What I can say with that is that physics did not apply to that fight sequence.
No, it didn't. But that was why it was fun.
Yeah, there was a moment. There was a moment when Kong jumped from the carrier that he'd been traveling on.
Yeah.
Onto a smaller ship as a stepping stone, onto another carrier, and that carrier should have been snapped in half.
Yeah.
But no, because a plot needs to happen.
It was great.
Yeah. At the end of the day, all of the fight sequences, to be fair, were really good. They were really enjoyable. I mean, it was just mindless action sequences put together, but it was still really good. And I mean, the animation was spot on. I don't know how else to describe it. Basically, it was just I just thought it was very it was very pretty to look at, so to speak.
Well, that's my next kind of thing. What I liked on the one where they have the fight in Hong Kong, I think it's Hong Kong, is the fact that they made all the skyscrapers neon. So everything was lit up, which initially I thought was a bit garish, but actually for doing a night sequence, it worked really well. And I actually really liked it. I mean, it was very Guardians, but it was good fun.
No, I enjoyed that more to when it then became daytime, and that's when they fought Mechagodzilla. Because suddenly it felt a bit more bland.
It did, yeah.
It was almost like they should have kept it in the nighttime neon lights and all this sort of stuff. I mean, they definitely killed a lot of people, though.
Oh, yeah. Yes.
Which were just good as...
So much for Mechagodzilla saving lives, no.
No, not just Mechagodzilla. All three of them. All three of them will have just killed countless people. I mean, at the end of the day, I've said that I think this would be more enjoyable watching it in the cinemas. I don't think this would have performed as well if the cinemas were open.
I do. I think the Asian market would have gone to this way more than the Snyder Cut.
Oh, no, that I can agree. Yeah, but then we're talking about the Snyder Cut would never have been released in cinemas. I'm talking about because at the end of the day, people are still trapped in their homes, and as far as new films coming out, they're few and far between. This is, like I say, this is probably the first sort of proper big Hollywood blockbuster to come out on a video on demand service.
I think this has actually had some theatre releases. This one, it's definitely because in America you can go see it in cinema.
Ah, right, okay. Part of the whole marketing of this was that there was going to be a definite winner between Godzilla and Kong.
There wasn't. Not
Exactly
even
my point.
close.
I have written down here as a question, who won? Now, I'd argue and
I'm
say,
gonna say Godzilla.
okay, fair enough, I agree with you there.
Because, as you said, Kong couldn't have killed Mechagodzilla if he hadn't charged the axe.
No, see, right, well, yes. Oh, I can't believe we're picking, the fact that we're picking this apart like it's a video essay is ridiculous. But that's kind of what I love about it. No, I agree with you. I think that Godzilla walked away the winner because at the end of the day, Kong was dying and they had to restart his heart with a explosion.
Heave. Heave? I wanted to call it a heavy, but it's a heave.
Sure,
The machines.
sure. The
They
space,
were cool. They were
the
cool.
spacecrafts, but
Space cars, that's what they were.
the space cars, yeah, that travel to the center of the Earth. But yeah, no, Godzilla had beaten Kong even before Mechagodzilla had turned up. I like neither Kong nor Godzilla would have been able to beat Mechagodzilla on their own, which is the whole reason for them having to team up. So I would argue that Godzilla walked away from that still as the winner, but it was kind of that whole thing of it's okay, Kong, you don't have to bow to me, but I know I'm the better one. And then he walks away and then sort of goes back into the ocean.
It's like that. It's like that thing with children, you know. Whichever one walks away, they're the one that's really got the power.
Yeah, they're the bigger person. They're the bigger person. I don't. Yeah, but I think it's just the fact that in the marketing they very much were like, no. There's going to be one clear winner here, like one definitive winner. And went to the end of the film and I thought, no, it isn't.
Nah.
It's a lot of bullshit. But it just, yeah, it remarks back to my previous point where Godzilla definitely felt like a side character, and this was actually a sequel to Kong, and then Godzilla was basically the villain.
Yeah, which isn't weird because he's always the good guy. Usually.
Yeah. So they're just, I mean, even if yes, Godzilla was being provoked by the fact that Apex were trying to make their own Titan, it still was hunting Kong, still fighting him, still trying to kill him to prove that he was the top dog. Yeah, just Godzilla was basically painted as the villain of this piece, and then somehow walks away as a good guy. I don't know. It's all over the place, but we're also talking about giant monsters, so I'm just going to stop talking now.
Right. So, what was your favourite bit then?
Favourite bit. I think probably my favourite bit is going to be that first fight sequence between Godzilla and Kong. The one where they're in the middle of the ocean and they're fighting each other. My favourite bit is going to be one of the three fights, and I think it would.
The first one.
It's a close call between that one and the one in Tokyo at nightfall, but
that was beautiful. Yeah.
I did just think that
the water just was fun, definitely.
Maybe it was just because that was the first time that we saw them fight together, and even in the trailer they made a big deal about that and the way the music was all used. It paid off. Like even in the film, that whole fight sequence paid off, and it was just like as soon as it happened. I mean, I don't know how far into the film it was. Good half an hour at least.
I was going to say, yeah.
Where we're having to sit through sort of like mild exposition of we need to go to Hollow Earth, and at the end of the day, as soon as because the deaf girl again, I can't remember her character's name.
Jaya.
Yeah, something. One of those.
Her name was actually said a lot during the story, to be fair.
Also, sorry, just side note, I know she didn't have any dialogue, but I mean, she was still very good.
She's deaf. She's deaf in real life.
Is she deaf in real life?
Yeah.
I did not know that.
I thought she did a bloody brilliant job. She out-acted like everyone.
No, she was definitely probably the best actor among them. So, good on you. Yeah, that was my little side note. But she basically, I think she puts her hand against the side of the ship and she can feel it rumbling, and then somehow that means that they know that Godzilla's coming. I don't know. It was just the whole thing of.
Yeah, that was a bit weird. I'll give you that.
But it was the way it sort of built up that the alarm started going off, and even Rebecca Hall has her "It's Godzilla" line, and then we see Godzilla coming through the. Basically, that's where shit starts to happen, and as soon as it got to that point, I was like. Right, here we go. This is it. This is what we're here for. And at the end of the day, it did pay off. So it was. If that had been a disappointment, it wouldn't have been my favourite moment. But I think because that is where it all started, yeah, I'd say that's my favourite moment.
Seconded. Worst moment. I know it's tough to pick. I think I want to say the CPR on Kong because it just really upset me. It's like this. We need something that's stronger than anything else you've ever seen. How about this one? Can we just park it on top of him and turn it on and then run away and it'll be fine?
Right. As far as worst moments, again, because I mean, at the end of the day, I have talked a lot of shit about this film, but like, there's nothing in it because of what it is that was sorry,
Yeah,
no.
inherently bad.
Sorry, no, I was going to say game breaking, but that's a term I use for video games, not for films. There was nothing. There was no moment, no matter how terrible, that broke the film. Let's say, because we know exactly what this film is. But the whole bit with Kong sitting on his throne with his axe, with the energy core,
You mean the Shrek? This is my swamp.
just I mean, basically just anything to do with Hollow Earth, I think was going to be my worst moment. But
Yeah.
it was the moment where they basically got to what I presume was the center where the energy source was. Kong had his axe, he sat on his throne, and then at that moment Godzilla's like, they're directly beneath me, and then shoots the beam into the center of the earth, and then Kong climbs out. It just from that point, basically, the whole film was devoid of any sort of sensible logic.
I'm with you.
And it just, that just, yeah. I mean, I know I sighed a lot when it went back to the whole infiltrating mission, but that happened, and I was like, why? What writer came up with that?
Before you destroy the no, before you completely go against the entire writing stuff, I think we should definitely say that Kaylee Hottle, who played Gia, was the best performance.
Yes,
And
definitely
definitely
agree.
Eliza Gonzalez as Mia Simmons was the worst.
Yes. No,
Yeah.
I think that's fair enough.
Yeah. And I'm not sure if it was her performance or the character,
I
because
don't,
it
well,
was tough.
well, I don't know what else she's been in.
That doesn't change anything.
Oh no! Oh my God! I know I recognise her from something. She's in.
She's Alita?
She's in Baby Driver.
Oh my god.
That's where I know her from. And I'm sorry, but she's fantastic in Baby Driver. So no, it's purely down to the character.
Okay. I don't even remember in Baby Driver, but I'll take your word for it.
She wasn't Baby Driver. She was John Hamm's wife.
Oh yeah, she was actually good.
She was fantastic in Baby Driver. I am going to definitively say that I don't think it's her. I think it's the writing and the fact that she was really, really misplaced in that film, which is a bit of a shame. But I still agree that I think that character was the worst, and that
Oh yes. Yes.
Jaya, Kaylee Hostel is the actress's name. I thought that kid was fantastic. I just
Brilliant.
thought that she was,
Completely owned it.
yeah.
Completely.
But I think part of it was the fact that because she is a kid, because she managed to sort of do all her acting quite reservedly and almost naturally, it just worked. It just felt very believable.
Truth works so much better on film.
Yeah.
Just yeah. But solid, good watch if you're bored, and as we all are, have nothing else really going on, go for it. You can rent Godzilla vs Kong from all good VOD platforms. Thank you for listening to a Bit of Film podcast with Hatty and James. If you enjoyed it, please feel free to share it with your friends, families, and mortal enemies, and don't forget to subscribe wherever you get your podcasts.
See you next week, guys.